Hello and welcome to Matrix IT's Cybersecurity Fundamentals course. This module is on working remotely. My name is Frank Fazio and I will be your instructor. All right, well, if there's one thing COVID's done is ripped us out of our cozy little offices with locked doors and locked filing cabinets and policies and procedures for disposing of sensitive documents that you don't want to get in the trash. Um, the majority of us have been working remotely. I know some of you have had to be on site. Well, with working remotely, there are different risks that you wouldn't normally have, being situated in a locked building with locked doors, and the security you have. So I wanted to discuss a little bit of what you can do to protect yourself while you're not in the office, and you may have laptops and cell phones that you're using from home. All right, so definition, although working remotely is pretty self-explanatory, but I thought I would complicate things by putting a whole bunch of words into a definition. Remote work is the practice of employees doing their jobs from a location other than a central office operated by the employer. Such locations could include an employee's home or any other place outside of the traditional corporate office building or campus. All right? So you're not at work per se, you're working somewhere else. Right? Whether it's you're sitting in the coffee shop or you're in your car possibly, or you're at home. All right. So, CyberArk is a computer consulting company. They did a survey of 3,000 people, and they came up with some statistics. And so I thought I would give those statistics to you, and we can go through them, and discuss the risks or what you can do to protect yourself. 77% of employees are using unmanaged personal devices to access corporate systems. So basically, you've got your cell phone, or your laptop, that is yours. And your IT department or your help desk has been gracious enough to connect those personal devices to the corporate network. But you have to keep them updated. All right. So 77% of employees are using unmanaged personal devices, right? The IT department cannot update your laptop. They cannot update your cell phone. You have to do that. So that's what's called unmanaged. So 77% of you out there, or of the 3,000, are using unmanaged personal devices. 66% of employees use Zoom and or Microsoft Teams or WebEx or any other ones that you may be using. I can't remember. There's one other one, which means people are online, and they're doing meetings from their remote location. That has risk to it. 29% admitted that they allow other members of their household to use their corporate devices. If your employer gives you a corporate cell phone or a corporate laptop, you do not let anyone else use it. And again, there's risks to doing that. 37% of employees insecurely save passwords and browsers on their corporate devices. And that, by what that is, when you are online and whether you're in Safari or you're in Firefox or Edge or any of the other browsers, and you log in or create an account somewhere, the browser will ask you if you want to save that password. Okay, that's insecure. 37% in this survey are doing that, and we'll talk about that. And the big one, and I cannot stress this enough, just look at the password module that I did. 93% of employees have reused passwords. And the reason why we're doing this is, again, from the passwords module that you're going to be seeing or have seen already. Passwords are broken, right? They're easy to guess. They're hard to remember because now they have to be all complex, right? Big letter, small letter, number, exclamation mark, all that kind of stuff. It becomes harder to remember them. And we keep reusing them. During the time of COVID, we have to have an online account for everything now, right? Because you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't go to any buildings to renew your license or for your taxes or anything along those lines. We had to do everything online, and therefore we needed accounts, which means we needed more passwords, which means we just reused the passwords we've been using everywhere else. And stressing once again, your work password that you use every day at work needs to be unique. Do not use that anywhere else. Okay? And it's like beating a dead horse. I am going to continuously say that because it's very, very important. That's one thing you can do to protect your work network. Do not reuse that password. All right. So we'll take a look at each one of these, and that's what we'll do in this module. So 77% of employees are using unmanaged personal devices to access corporate systems. We need to make sure that we update two things on our phone, okay? We need to update the operating system. If you have Android, it's going to be the Android the Android system. And I think it's on Android 11 or 12 or we're around there somewhere right now. If you're on Apple, it's the iOS. So that's basically what runs your phone. It's the software that the phone uses to run. And over time, their holes develop or holes are discovered in the software that hackers use to get into your phone. All right. So every so often, the manufacturers, either Android or Apple, I think Google's with Android. Anyways, they give you a new version of the software. And with that new version comes with extra security. So they'll take a look at the operating system and they'll say, okay, we need to fill this hole, this hole, this hole. They're all security holes. And we'll write a new piece of software for them, like we'll rewrite the OS, or we'll make modifications to the operating system or the OS, and we'll send it out to all the people who own the phones. You need to do those, okay? If your phone says the software update is available, you need to do it. I know it's a pain in the butt. You need to do it, okay? Because the reason being, like I just said, is they've sending you a new version to fix something that was in the old version. Okay, it's very important. And the next thing you have to do is you have to update the apps that are on your phone. Okay, so you update the software that runs the phone by doing the software update, and you update the apps that you run on the phone. Whether it be a flashlight app or a Bible app or some other app that their WhatsApp is listed here. Make sure you update them. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your account that you're running on your phone. You go to settings on your phone and you look for apps. And under apps, it will be something like update apps or something along those lines. It's different for the different phones. And you want to do an update. Now, what I've done is I've turned automatic update on for my apps. And so whenever a new version of the app comes out, again, to close a security hole, it will do it for me automatically. All right. Also, on your phone, if you've downloaded apps or if you have apps on your phone you're not using, get rid of them. You don't need them. There's a ton of apps out there, and a lot of the phones I've seen have a bunch of apps that you use once and then you don't use anymore. Get rid of it. It's just increasing the security problem that you may have if that app has a hole in it. All right. So update your iOS or your Android operating system. update the apps on your phone, right? And if you're not using apps on your phone, you get rid of them. You don't need them. Clean up your phone, all right? So that's unmanaged personal devices. Those are your phones. You have to take care of them. So we use Zoom, Microsoft Teams. So how we invite people to our meetings is we send them a link, and usually that link goes by email. So when I book a meeting with someone, they will get a notice and in their calendar, that a link will be there for Zoom or Teams or whatnot. Problem is if you get exposed, or if somebody hacks your email, sitting in your email, they can read and they can get a hold of all those links. All right, and what's happening is you may be in a meeting with a number of people, and one of those people that you think is a fellow employee or somebody that you know in a different company, they may be hijacked by a cyber criminal that has logged in to that meeting. And having said that, they can say, "Hey, you know what? Speaking of, here's the document that I owe you. You can get it here, right? So you can do quite a bit if you have somebody's email. If you can access somebody's email, and they're providing Zoom links for meetings, or if they're receiving them, a cyber criminal can easily pop into one of those meetings and say, "Hey, guys, here's the latest report, whatever. Click here to download it," something along those lines. Okay, they're getting quite quite clever. Also, if you are using remote software or this conference software when you're working remotely, be careful what you're doing if your camera's on. There's been a number of different situations where people, things are happening behind them, or they've been caught in some situations where they wish they didn't, thinking the camera was off. Be aware of what's going on around you when you are in a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting and you have your camera on. People can see you, and you got to make sure that you're paying attention. All right. 29% admitted that they allow other members of their household to use their corporate devices. We don't want to do that. We can't control what people are doing when they're using the laptop for surfing or things along those lines. And we could run into problems like, downloading something they shouldn't. When we do have a corporate laptop or corporate device, we agree that, of course, we're going to use it for work, that, we're going to take care of what we download, and there may be some policies and procedures that you have at work that dictate that you're not supposed to be downloading things onto your laptop. Some of the laptops are locked down, so you really can't, but some aren't. And if you've given the laptop to a family friend to use, or one of your children that's a little younger, they may start downloading things because it's a fast laptop and has a great graphics card or whatever kind of thing. And we have to be careful because some of those downloads can be malicious. By mistake, we download something by clicking on something we shouldn't. The other thing that we have to be careful when we let others use corporate devices is them checking their personal email. All right. So if you give your laptop to your kids and they go into their Gmail accounts and they're clicking on things, your corporate laptop can be exposed. All right, we have to be careful. You're going through the modules. I'm showing you a lot of stuff that the other hacker guys talk about all the time. So we're giving you behind the scenes on how to check emails and what to check for. And if you just give your laptop or your corporate device to someone who's not aware of a lot of things we've been talking about, they could easily click on a link and either download something or go to somewhere on the internet they shouldn't, and you now have a case of ransomware or something like that. And the other, there was a situation where a friend came to me and he couldn't understand why he was getting half naked women popping up on his screen. And it was after doing some research and I took a look at it, it was because he had agreed. When you go to a website, sometimes it says this website would like to access your location, and you have the option to say yes or no. Usually you block or you say block. And the other thing it asks you is, would you like this website to give you updates? Some people say yes, no, depending on what website it is. But somebody was using his laptop and clicked yes, send me updates. Unfortunately, the site they were on was more of an adult site, let's say. And when when they clicked yes to updates, now when you're just using your laptop on a Yahoo or something, you'll get an update every so often from the site that somebody clicked on yes, send me updates. So you have to be very, very careful well, that's his story anyway. Someone else clicked on it. I don't know if he did or not. But I cleaned it up for him. Just be careful when you let other people. Actually, you shouldn't even let. If it's a corporate laptop or a corporate device, don't let anybody use it. Okay, you don't want to start seeing pop-ups and things that are being downloaded. It's really not worth it. And you don't want to be that person that has to bring it to the help desk to get cleaned up, or whoever does your computers. Okay, 37% insecurely save passwords in browsers on their corporate devices. So, like I said, you're on a website, you start or you create an account, or you log into account. The website is going to ask you, do you want me to save that? And we don't. Okay, and the reason being is because the websites will save your passwords for you, but they'll save them on your laptop. Okay, the majority of them will save them on your laptop, and if you know where to go, you can pull them out of the laptop. You can pull the passwords out of the laptop. Some websites you go to, if you download some things, I think there was a program called Redline that if you downloaded it, it would be able to read your passwords in your browser, something like that. I think it was called Redline. I saw a report on it. You don't want your web browsers to do your password managing. Okay, it just they're not there to be secure. They're there to give you the internet. Okay, and depending on if you download an app or an extension, a browser extension, and not a lot of people do, but if you download a browser extension, it could possibly read those passwords. So, what do we do instead, right? Well, there's two things that you can do off the top of my head. One of them is you could get yourself a password manager, a dedicated third-party password manager. And that would take care of your passwords for you, because that's all it does. And it does a very good job. And I know LastPass had an exposure, but none of the passwords were exposed, just some of the software through a developer. You can get a third-party password manager that will take care of all your passwords. I have one. I use one because I can't remember my passwords. I'm too old to remember my passwords. And what other thing you can do instead of having your browser do it is write down your passwords. Write them down and lock them up. If you're working from home and you have a notebook and you put your passwords in it, when you're done writing them into your book, go lock the book up somewhere. Okay, don't bring it with you, and don't keep it outside in your car. Just make sure it's secure. And if you do that, everybody's, oh, can't write down our passwords. But it's what you do with that list or with that notebook after you write down the password. Like I said in the passwords module, some people, what they're doing is they're writing out all their passwords and they're going to the bank and they're putting in a safety deposit box. One key they keep, and the other key goes to the lawyer. And elderly people are doing this, so when they do pass on, the lawyer that takes care of the will pass that key to the next of kin. They will go to the safety deposit box and close out all their accounts, the deceased accounts, because all the passwords are there. All right, it's just something you can think of. But you can write your passwords down. Just make sure you keep it secure. But out of both those options, I like the password manager one. And again, I did a module on password managers. You can take a look, and decide from there. Okay, but just don't let your web browser, especially the corporate one, that maybe other people would use, or you give back to the help desk. Don't use the web browsers to save your passwords. 93% of us or employees are they're reusing passwords, or they have reused passwords, right? I found this really cool thing that I stole off the internet. I'm keeping it because I think it's cool. Friends, don't let friends reuse passwords. All right. Again, get a password manager. I have over, I think it's 220 passwords, I think right now, that I use personally. And my password manager takes care of all of them. I could not possibly remember that many. And again, check out the passwords module and the password manager module. Just don't reuse your passwords. Okay. And if you do have to reuse your passwords, then you turn on two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, which I also have a module for that you can take a look at and learn how to do that. It's a problem. Passwords are a problem. Again, this is why you use your facial recognition and your thumbprint, because passwords, it's very, very hard not to reuse passwords, but don't do it. Okay. So protecting ourselves. When you print something in a remote location like your house, and it has got sensitive information on it, you need to destroy it properly. Okay. I have a shredder. Everything that comes off my printer goes in the shredder after I'm done. When I get mail, or if I have certain documents that I have that I do not want in the recycle bin, I shred it. Okay. You have policies and procedures at work for sensitive documents, but we forget that we're at home. We may print something off and we're not paying attention. It ends up in the recycle bin. Okay. Be careful. One of the things you should be worried about is, again, proper Wi-Fi. If you are at home, you really shouldn't have a problem. Just make sure you have a good password on your router, on your Wi-Fi name that you have that you connect to. Make sure there's a good password to it. It's not easy to guess. And the next thing from that is your home Wi-Fi. What you can do is you can create a guest network on your router. Just look up the documentation for your router. And what it allows you to do is have one main Wi-Fi for you. And then you can create one for the guests that come to your house. And that way, if somebody picks up on the guest one, or if somebody comes over and has a network scanner on their phone or whatever, they can't see your main network. They're stuck in that guest network. The guest network that you create, it goes out to the internet, but doesn't allow them to your printer, doesn't allow them, to see your laptop on the main network. Just keep that main network for the people in your house. And then anybody who comes over, create that guest network. It's fairly easy to do through your router. It's in the documentation. Create a guest network and have people that come over just connect to that instead of the network that you're using to log into your workplace and your printers on it. Everybody's using wireless printers, stuff along those lines. And lock your devices when they're not in use. When we work remotely, we tend to work at the kitchen table. We tend to work in areas that, high traffic. Now everybody's, bringing friends over and family over. If you're at a laptop or your corporate laptop and you're working and you have to get up, lock it. Okay, it's Control Alt Delete on a regular Windows machine. Control Alt Delete and lock. All right, put a password on. Don't leave it open where somebody can just jump on it and pick up some information. I'm not sure what it's on the Mac, how you doing on a Mac, but make sure that when you leave your phone or you leave your laptop, that it's locked at a lock screen. All right. Um, that's it for this module. So again, stay safe, stay frosty, and I will see you in the next module.